Okay, this video is to cover all of the pull requests I have open right now because they all build from one another. So all of the code from the first one is in the last one, and they're all branched off of the current dev. So the first thing is that I have a reveal sequence for the data points, similar to the rocks. You can see they're going the same way. It would reveal them and they'll spin. And with the data points, now you scan this, which will reveal this, and it's got a little animation thing. I don't like the way it's going now, but we just changed the curve to make it go at a different rate. I'll point that out afterwards. So these hand controls we can move for each instance, but they'll be below the ground. And when you activate it, they'll move up to the front. And I still need to add text above them, but they control the data point and replace these buttons here. I'd also like to have them animate, but the system I have is a little buggy right now where it'll be jittery or it won't come back forward and back to the same distance each time. But I think I have a simple fix for it. It's just ran out of time. So this one has play, pause, and close. And then that was the audio data point. This is the image data point. See, it's all funky, but you just need to rotate it and move it down. So this one's got 3 functions, and so it's got the extra button there. And you can see I'm toggling between them. We've got some sounds, animations to it again as well. And it's got the text down here as well. So that's moving between the images, and then I need to set that distance differently. Each of these has a different setup, so they aren't exact copies of each other. This is the video data point, and it's got play, pause, the restart, and close. I think I've got these 2 flipped, so this is going to play and pause the video. And this will restart it, and then we'll flip it back away. I want to extend these lines so that you can do it from farther back like this, and then also you can push these components in different places. I want to have the screen much farther back so that you can get up here and mess with it without having to look up and down like that. And the last thing has to do with the unlocking system, which I will show after a change. I don't know if you could tell, but everything was unlocked at that state so that I could show all the different data points in the gallery object. But if you go into the save, you can change what is unlocked when we have this feature unlocks, and the default values is where I had them all unlocked. So if I go back into the level blueprint, or go into it, I should say, this at the beginning of each level, you unlock features. And you can do this anywhere. I just have it in one place every time for simplicity. But like you could have, you could walk over a square like this in the map, and it could unlock some new feature and play some notifications and stuff. So in this first level, we're activating these 2. Since these are staying the same from our game save, we're getting it and setting it. These are both the same thing. So I have to see what I have now. I want to change it to that, keeping all the false values except for these 2. So we'll be able to scan data points, but not like gallery item scans. And then we're going to update our character so it knows the current setup here. And the game instance has a couple things. Like the character knows the grip and the jump and the scan, but the game instance knows things like are gallery items available, is the scene selection available. So those things are separate from the character. And then we're going to save that information. A notification will pop up saying that we have the scanner unlocked. They stay on for about 2.5 seconds. Show real quick. Show the notification. We wait, and then we hide the notification. So coming back, it's like 2.5 seconds, and then I wait another second and a half to show my next notification. These need a little tweaking, but it's not part of this sprint. It's just going to let the player know what they unlocked and what to do with it. So that's what's unlocked in the first map. And now the other pull request was where I set that up. You go through the whole experience and unlock things as you move across. So right now I should only be able to do the data points. My scanning is available. So that's that notification there. And it should be sized to the content where the stop was cut off. So right now they're not unlocked. I can't do those data points. But these, also not unlocked. This part's not unlocked. Check it out. These. So these are still active, but the reveal is not. Check it out. And then there's a jump feature that is not active, which is what we wanted. Nothing unlocks except for on the arrows map, so this one we have to wait 10 seconds for the little skip button to pop up. This is on like a 4-second loop until it goes to the next one. FYI, scanner system should be available for data point scans, which would be the gallery items. See if it is the same as this. It is. So this is one, I've only changed them on that first level, so this one's up higher because the models are different. But you can get a better look at those things moving. Pretty cool. Now we should be able to do one of these, and then I'll go to the next level. Let's see. And jump is still locked, which I want. Now these are available to unlock. I did it earlier. Oh, that's right, but I don't have the grip. So at first you can only unlock and look at them. It'll play the notification. You could see them in the gallery room, but that's also locked. So right now you just get to see them, and then I think in the next level we'll unlock being able to use them. And I do still need to go back and slow that thing down. Figure out how. Interact grab unlocks and resize. So I gave nothing but resize. Give both of those here. Let's see if I can. So we can grab and resize. You can see those. What are they? Those notifications lined up better than some. So mission control should be available. So I should have checked this out. Okay. So the menu is another thing that is. Gallery is the mission control. That's what we unlocked this time. Ooh. And the save system works. I hadn't tested that yet. That's cool. And this time we don't have a good way back because I haven't messed with this level yet. But from here you would have a button that says go back to Eros, or you were going to have that room that loads you to it. So you can see that the solar system is still not unlocked. That was one of the later levels. And then a scene selection is another feature that I set up a framework for. It would be here. There'd be like a thing that has like level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or whatever, and you point at them. That's also not implemented, but we just haven't done it. Oof. And must shrink. Now, these shouldn't require to be unlocked more than once, but I have lost my train of thought. Let me show you a little bit about how that is implemented. And that'll be good. So you saw the save. I'm leaving these all unlocked so that we can test the data points and whatnot as we test polls, but for the demo those will all be locked. Let's check out one of these. I'm going to go to the base first. So it's the parent of all the data points. It's got the 2 hand controls, and some of them have 3. I just added the 3rd one in. This plane, or this is the cube, is just like the cover objects. That's why they're not working. It's a copy of the cover object from the gallery object with all of its logic. Here in the beginning we are, this is the base, so I have some abstract functions that we implement in each instance because begin plays can be different on different ones. Specifically for this, we have a widget here with no class. If you come over here, it's really rude, it's got no class, and it doesn't know which widget to load in the instances of this, like image or video or audio. There's a different class for each of those, but I have to leave it blank for now. And down, we are overlapping with these scanner objects, not the scanner object. Scanner reveal. The hand controls, this is the animation that pulls the hands out of the ground off this timeline. The higher it is, the faster it's moving, so it kind of like eases in and snaps at the end. And however many times a second it's going to update from 0 to 1, that position that you saw, or that at that rate, it's going to update the position at a single rate for the x and the y, so it's coming towards you, and at a different rate for the z, so that it doesn't come up as high using the same track. So it's going to be a lower value here than this value, and it's negative because if we come up on this guy, you can see these little arrows coming out of the back. That is actually the forward vector, because this is the face of it. So slow down. So if this thing was moving forward, it'd be going that way, and so if I move it in reverse, it'd be coming towards me. That's why it's negative in the front, and then we flip this. You can see the z flip, x, y flip, because when I'm putting the data point back away, I multiply these by -1. So that -3 going away from me becomes +3. And then this hand button animation was what I was talking about that isn't implemented yet. It's kind of funky, but as you reach towards it, it will push away like you're pressing a button, but it's not nice looking, and I didn't want to spend more time on it because it's kind of separate from the task. These spheres and these hand controllers are what you overlap to use them as buttons. So when my hand overlaps this mesh, see how I have these red spheres, the inner and the outer. Well, it's another task, but so when I overlap the button itself, it's going to call this process button press, which just makes sure that it's the right type of thing that I'm overlapping. It has to be a controller. And I say yes or no. And once I get the right thing, if it's true, then I'm going to call the button action, which is another abstract thing. Remember, I'm still on the base. So this is not ever in the world, it's just the base for these other ones that are. So I call the left and the right button, and then I replicate this for the ones that have more than 2 buttons. So like in the, just move to it and go to the video, I have a third one that you can tell it looks like the same set of nodes. And it's just for the 3rd button that I created in this model here. I ought to have 3 created in the other one with all of it set up, and then in the event graph I'll say how many do I need, and I'll destroy whichever ones I don't need. That would probably be better than copy and pasting all this code in. And then this one I copy and pasted this animation in so that I could add the 3rd button. The other ones just have left and right. And we could do this for as many buttons as we want. We just have to have one of these, and then for each of the buttons, one of these. So once you have the buttons, you overlap them, and this is that start button action that was abstract over here. I'm in the base again by clicking on that, but when I go into here, I'm implementing what was abstract in the other one. And so I have my copy of the widget, and this is a function in the widget. There is a separate widget, see video data point. There's a separate widget for each type of data point. Play video is going to call all this stuff, and it's going to get the media player and play and pause it. And I collapsed what was in the widget. That's why you had to use the little pointers like a mouse. I collapsed all that into functions so that they could be called from anywhere instead of only by clicking on things. So it's on clicked, use this function. So it still works as a menu, but you can also grab this from anywhere if you have a widget. So back to getting this widget, it was just an abstract one. At begin play, I say get that widget, get the object inside of it, and make sure that it's a video. So right now we don't know, it's a cast. If that cast is successful, then I have the widget and I can access its functions. Play video at the top here. Otherwise, it would just be a generic widget that can't do anything, and it's just kind of like a dummy object like it was in the abstract one. So that's the animations, that's the buttons. I can explain in more detail any of these that you want to see, like this button press. It's basically just checking the classes on the overlap. Whenever things hit each other, if like this is one of the buttons, they have a collision setting, and these are all kinds of different collisions, different categories of them, and then these are custom because I only want to look at certain things. I don't want to like walk into them and stop and bump onto them. I want to do traces, which basically says look at the bounds of it and see if the bounds are overlapping, and if they are, then I want to be able to do logic like that whenever they do. But if they can check what's overlapping them, they will check every time anything overlaps them. So you have to check that it's the right kind of thing. And we have two different kinds of controllers, so I have to check each one. Now these grab spheres on the controllers are just like the grab spheres here, these collisions. The idea is that if I hit this inner one, I want the button to move, but I don't want the button to come back immediately or it'll just jolt back and forth constantly. So I have to go outside of this larger one before it will play the return animation. And I almost had it working, but it was like 3 hours in and it wasn't right, so I didn't know how much longer that would take. Let's see. I think that is all 5 of the pull requests. If they don't seem to match up, just let me know. This end overlap is just like when you press the button, but it's whenever your hand goes away from the button. That's why I had this big and small circle, as well as that I could do different things. Like, let's say on the gallery pedestal, when you had your hand over it, it was rotating. When you took your hand away, it stopped rotating. That's this. But some things like a mouse, I'm clicking and dragging right now. It's because it's mouse down, mouse up, and it stops. Whereas this, it's like, here's my mouse down, there's my mouse up. And so there's different functions we could do with that if we think of it. That is it.